Christine, thank you so much for having me here, I guess, in your coffee shop.
Sure.
Let's start at the beginning with young Christine. Tell me what you wanted to be when you grew up and like where you went to school and all of that.
Sure. I'm from Ulster County, so we moved around a bit, but Kingston, New Paltz area, so not far away. And I went to school there, Rondout Valley High School. And I would say young Christine thought she might be a lawyer. I was very good at arguing and very good at making people on my side and things like that. But I chose in high school to pursue education as a career. I loved so many things, and I enjoyed teaching people, and that was a route I knew I would be successful in and knew I would enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Fast forward to today. We are sitting in your coffee shop that you and your husband Rich own, Storied Coffee. Talk to me about how this came to place.
Sure. Rich was looking at a career change a couple years ago. So at this point now, fall of 2019, we're looking at 2 years of Rich and I planning to open our own business. And so he was looking at a career change more than 2 years ago. And we had talked about someday, opening a business someday, maybe a coffee shop, maybe a bookstore, something like that. And we started asking ourselves, why isn't someday now? And what could we do now to open a business? And we were fairly naive, I think, about the costs and the time and the intensity. My parents, my mom and my stepdad, are business owners. And so I grew up with that in my background. And Rich kind of had a sense that he might be at his happiest working for himself. So we said...
What kind of business do your parents have?
My mom and my stepdad are gunsmiths in Kingston.
Okay.
So very different, completely different.
Yeah,
but
totally
I still grew up in a family where I understood what it meant to have your own business and all the ups and downs of that.
Okay. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know that you had you grew up in like an entrepreneurial family.
Yeah. And so for us moving forward just meant looking for spaces and seeing how much like capital we could get and looking at purchasing equipment and things like that.
Can you walk me through like the moment when you're like, okay, it's gonna be a coffee shop, and like how did you come to that realization?
Yeah, we had a couple other business ideas, but ultimately the ones I was more passionate about had to be put aside for now because I'm continuing my full-time job. And so we were like, well, what is Rich most passionate about? And that ended up being coffee for him. We've always been really into coffee shops and coffee. And so we wanted to choose something that Rich was passionate about to focus on because he was going to be managing it and running it full time. So there was just a day where we really were like, okay, are we going to do this like full time, full on? Like, are we going for this? And just with a lot of thought and prayer, we decided, yes, this is the right decision for us moving forwards, and just jumped in with both feet. And the first thing you do when you really think you're going to go for it is like start that LLC. Okay. So that was kind of our like, oh my gosh, this is real.
Yeah.
And then just trying to follow the path from there.
Storied Coffee didn't always start. You didn't just decide like, oh, I'm just going to open up, like get some space, open up my doors and then serve coffee. What was the process from doing your pop-ups to, I mean, you had a Kickstarter last year at this time. You were like renovating. You had a huge rally of people behind you. So can you quickly walk me through that, like, short period of time?
Yeah, we had a sense that we wouldn't be successful if we couldn't have the community support and the community buy-in. So that was kind of the point of all the things we did leading up to opening, which, like you said, was having those mobile pop-ups. And we tried to do them strategically close by. So we did those. We were meeting people, getting our name out there, just kind of taking any opportunities that came up. That's how we met you.
Mm-hmm.
We did a pop-up at your church,
Yep.
and we met you and Brandon, and that was super awesome.
Yep. And I was like, please come to Scotia and please hurry.
Yeah. And then so from there, then we still did those, but put them a little bit on hold during the renovation process. The Kickstarter made sense for us because we pursued a lot of different funding options and opportunities. And while we did, have some of our own personal loans and other business investors, things like that, we felt like the Kickstarter could work for us because we knew that people in the community wanted this space.
Yeah.
And we felt like the response to our Kickstarter and how successful it was did prove like people want this here. This is an important part of, Scotia, Schenectady. People are looking for something like this.
Mm-hmm. What does Storied Coffee mean?
Sure. So there's a lot of levels to that. Storied Coffee, for us, we saw it as a third space for people that's not home and it's not work, that was missing in the community. Scotia itself hadn't had a coffee shop for about 5 years before we opened, and it's not lacking in businesses, but it's lacking in places to just hang out rather than get a full meal or get a drink, and people who are just looking for a place to sit and be without anything else. And it's also one of our taglines is every cup tells a story. So for us, we really do feel like people connect over a drink. You have boba right now, I have a latte, and we're connecting. And we think that's true no matter what the drink is. People are connecting over that, sharing their stories, sharing their struggles, and things like that. And we value that and wanted to give people an opportunity to do that.
Taking it back, like when I was first starting this podcast, Rich, your husband, was super supportive and was like talking to me about it and like saying that he was listening to it. And then he was like, when we were talking, he was saying like that he's like, oh, I have someone that you should talk to. And I was like, oh, who? And he's like, Christine. And like, it's just so funny because Rich, in his own words, was like, a lot of people see me as the, the face, quote unquote, of Storied Coffee. But really, my wife, Christine, is like the backbone and like really is the reason why everything is running. And she's the one that keeps like things like glued together is kind of how he described it. And so I was like, yeah, well, of course, because like you're always running things around in the background and like you work full time. You work, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a special ed teacher.
Yes, I am.
Full time. And then like after you're working with kids with special needs all day, you come here and you work with, people in the coffee shop. And oftentimes you're here like super late at night. So like,
that's true.
How and why?
Sure. I think the how is being a special ed teacher and a coffee shop owner are two really different things.
Totally.
And so that helps me separate them. Not that I'm saying you should compartmentalize your life. I don't think you should. But if you are interested in pursuing more than one job opportunity, more than one career, it's helpful to have them be completely different from each other because you can switch gears and turn off, like I turn off my teacher hat and I turn off the lessons and I turn that off when I come here. And I'm still using some of the skills that I need as a teacher, as a leader, as an effective communicator in the coffee shop. But I can move to, this is customer service mode. This is like business hat, ordering, marketing, planning event mode, things like that. So there's enough differences for me that I can switch without feeling completely burnt out when I'm regularly putting in those 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah. So how has being a teacher helped you as an entrepreneur?
Sure. I think everyone would agree that teachers work really hard and have to be high energy. So I do consider myself a hard worker and someone who has a lot of just kind of natural energy throughout the day. Fun fact, I don't drink coffee in the morning.
Really?
Yeah,
but you're drinking coffee now.
I am.
What are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking a caramel latte, and I go back and forth. I love so many different drinks on our menu. I love tea, boba, espresso. But so I think that having that already like hardworking part of me as a teacher, and then also just being someone who has a lot of energy, who's kind of high energy, go-getter. I'm definitely a type A personality. That has helped me with also being a customer service person. I am such a people person, so I love relating to my students and other teachers that I work with, and I also love relating to the customers and getting to know them. So there's a lot of crossovers in that. And also you have to, so I have 6 TAs in my classroom. So I have a lot of adults that I manage in addition to having my students.
6 TAs?
Yeah, so 6 teaching assistants. So at the start of every day, there's already 7 adults in the classroom before the kids even get there. So managing adults and being an effective leader for adults in a teaching setting has helped me also be an effective leader for our staff here at Storied Coffee.
How many employees are here at Storied Coffee?
We currently have 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know all of them.
Yeah. We try to be friendly.
No,
and
super
so
friendly.
Most of our baristas, we ask them, and ourselves, we ask ourselves to make an effort to get to know people's names and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I experienced that. So I guess that kind of leads me to my next question is what makes Storied Coffee different from other, I don't know, boutique coffee shops? I would consider this a boutique coffee shop because it's not a chain. It's very local and, you know, what makes you different?
Sure. One of the first differences we hope people notice is that we care about our customers and our community. So we make an effort to engage with customers, get to know them at whatever the level the customer wants to interact with us, remembering people's names, remembering what they like to order, things like that, and just showing that they care, not as just a way to be able to call out, Maggie, your boba's ready. That's not why we ask names. We ask names because we care about the customers and we want to create that sort of environment where people know that they're welcome and that they're cared about. And then community being another thing we care about. We try to be involved in local fundraisers, be a place where the community can come and gather and have events, and just be a positive spot. We're right on Mohawk Ave. We're right on the main street of Scotia. We want to be a positive influence and a positive part of both the community and the business scene here.
Yeah. I will say I have experienced that firsthand, like just witnessing it, like witnessing Rich, like, commit to memory people's names and you committing to memory like new people that come in. And like I will say there have been other places in the capital region, I won't name names, where I felt like I intimidated and almost like like people were snobbish toward me when I was ordering coffee in certain coffee shops. And I hate that feeling of walking into a place where I'm not sure what to order, and then the customer service, they're like really rude and snobby to me because I don't know about third wave coffee, you know? Like, so that's definitely not how it is here at all.
That's a great point. One of our focuses is to have a really high quality of drink. We're not in it necessarily for the quantity, but we are starting with the best quality coffee with our roaster in Saratoga, Crew Coffee, and starting with really quality tea and quality milk and things like that. And we believe that our drinks are really high quality and that they're great. And our focus is to be a specialty coffee and boba shop. The point is the customer and the connection and being part of the community. And the point isn't just to serve a really great product. And I think a lot of shops fall into wanting to serve a really great product and putting that ahead maybe of connecting well with the people who are supporting their business.
I have a younger sister that lives in Rochester, and they are really into third wave coffee and pour overs.
There's so much
and everything.
good coffee in Rochester. I'm
right?
so jealous.
Right? And the last time she was in town, it was a Sunday, and she's like, "Can we go to Storied Coffee?" And I was like, "No, because Sundays I know you're closed for your day of rest."
So disappointing to many people.
I know, but it's good. You need that, and I
Yes.
think, and you can maybe talk about that, like how important it is that like you're not open 7 days. You're open. You close on Sundays so you can, re-energize yourself.
Yeah, we decided early on because we personally are part of a church community, and we knew that we wouldn't be working on Sundays. And then the question for us was, would we have staff who wanted to maybe work on Sundays and we could be open 7 days? But we said it was most important to us that everybody have a break no matter what. No matter what their beliefs were, what they do on a Sunday, that's anybody who works for us, their opportunity to rest, at least from working with us. And being that Rich works double extra overtime, he's here all the time doing so many things, and then I'm working 2 jobs, we knew that being closed Sunday would give us, if nothing else, the time and the peace of mind to not have to be here, not have to be doing anything with the shop on Sundays when we can manage it. Mm-hmm. I would say we manage it 3 out of 4 Sundays. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're still here doing things.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, at least you don't have to worry about like the business side
mm-hmm.
of it.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about like your Curated Corner and like how you partner with other businesses? Because I think that's another thing that you offer that not a lot of other shops do.
One of our big values is also collaboration. And so one of the first ways we collaborate, obviously, is having chosen local suppliers for our tea, Short and Stout. Crew Coffee is our local coffee supplier, and like Bat and Kill.
Your food.
Partnering. Our food, is all local bakers. And so we were looking to do everything local that we could. And we realized that working with local people could extend past our menu, and it could extend into our retail area. And one of our initial thoughts was, well, we'll just sell things from people, like buy it in bulk or on consignment or whatever. We'll just sell things from people who are local makers. And then it was really like one of Rich's driving force behind the idea, but I've kind of taken on the scheduling and searching people out and things like that for the Curated Corner. So people get an opportunity for 1 month to show off their product, and we really don't care what it is. We've had a lot of different things. We've had some clothing, candles, soaps, things like that. We're open to anything that can fit in the space, and we love what people have come up with. And we love partnering with other local makers to give them an opportunity to be showcased and have a spotlight on them for a month. But then our customers also have an opportunity to support a local business maybe they didn't know about already. And we've seen people, I love that. And we, point them to the person directly or to their Etsy shop. Or we've been able to help them make other connections through being part of the corner. So what kind of started as a small idea of like, let's just go local, kind of became a much bigger thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm having to constantly like make sure I'm fitting people in the schedule correctly, because we have 2 people at a time on a rotating basis, and they have receptions, and we encourage them to host an event.
Which I've been to one of them, and they're so fun.
Yeah. So, and we always tell people it's what you make it. Like we can tell people about it all we want, but we want it to be a collaboration. Mm-hmm. So we want the maker to also be telling their community about it, be getting the word out there. So it can be definitely mutually beneficial and always fun for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And you have open mic too, don't you?
That's going to be starting up on a more regular basis in December. We've hosted a couple music events and 1 open mic so far. In December, it's going to be weekly on Wednesday nights. And it's going to be originals only. Cool. So one of the main reasons for that is to be something unique and offering to the capital region that doesn't necessarily exist. Sometimes you go to an open mic and you really want to do your original work, and you're the only one doing originals. Everyone else is singing works everybody already knows and are singing along with and are familiar, and you kind of get lost or drowned out in sharing your original music, and that can be disheartening. And
I like that you set up that expectation beforehand, that when you're going to see someone, mm-hmm. it's like this is their work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it makes it more special. Another way for us to collaborate with people, and be a way for people to get their voice out there. And also, just like the legal side of it, someone should be paying for using someone else's work, and we want to avoid all of that and just mm-hmm. focus on like, this is your work and you're sharing it with a community of like-minded people. And there's already seems like there's a lot of people interested. We might be maxing out our seating capacity for those, but we're really excited about it. And Rich himself is a singer-songwriter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So expect to see and hear Rich playing some songs on those Wednesday nights.
What made you open up Storied Coffee in Scotia?
That's a good question. We looked around, checked out a couple other towns as far as the coffee scene. We were living in Albany. Now we're in Scotia, and we felt like there was already some great shops in Albany we really loved, and we weren't ready or necessarily needed to compete with them. So we asked ourselves, where are there less coffee shops? Where is there maybe no coffee shops? And we were like, well, Scotia doesn't have one, and Rich is from here. He grew up in Scotia. And he said, the only way I will open a coffee shop in Scotia is if we can be on the intersection of Route 50 and Mohawk Ave. And I was like, okay, well, there's like not that many options there. But he is friends with the owner of Shop Talk. And she pointed out to him, hey, that building just came up for rent. They just put that sign up. So we got in touch with our landlord, who is our landlord now, and they were very supportive of the idea of a coffee shop. And
what was this building beforehand?
It was a jewelry store and a home health aid office and an optician's office, and it opened as a bakery, which we thought was really cool. It had great hardwood floors, which we resurrected from the grave, and they look great now. And we took out all the walls, and we put in a new bathroom, and we put in all the plumbing for our equipment and everything like that. But it felt great to kind of bring the space closer back to what it had been built for, which was something to do with food and community. And so it took a lot of vision on both of our parts to imagine the space how it was. If you go on our Facebook page and look at some old pictures of what the space used to look like, you can see it took a lot of vision to imagine the space as something besides kind of like what it had just become over the years, kind of a mishmash of things. But we love how it turned out.
You did such a good job.
It was a labor of love.
It looks.
We did a lot of it ourselves.
Oh my, yeah, and you did an amazing job.
Thank
it looks
you.
so good in here, just looking around, like, and you're very intentional about your colors and like the plants and the you know the flowers, and it's just all very tasteful.
Thank you.
What's your favorite and least favorite part about owning a coffee shop?
My favorite part about being an owner at Storied is seeing what it's become for the community. So when I talk to guests who just say, oh, we've really needed this. Oh, I love coming to hang out here. I'm so glad I have a place to go. Things like that. I love hearing from the customers, but also just seeing for myself what it's become in a short amount of time. That's really rewarding on the hard days. It's a good reminder of why we're doing it. Least favorite thing is...
You don't have to answer that.
That's
if you don't
okay.
want to.
I'm not naturally very organized, which is not a good thing for a teacher or a business owner.
Well, you fooled me.
So that's the thing. I've had to force myself to write those reminders, keep a better calendar, and stay as organized as I possibly can. Rich and I use a shared Google Calendar between each other, but you can use it. We also have shared aspects of it with our staff, and so we can use that for scheduling and putting them on the calendar, and then they can let us know too, like days they can't work, and we can get that on the calendar, and there's no like surprises. We don't write it on paper or anything like that. That's helpful. I use Google Keep. It's a place where you can take notes, draw notes, or make checklists. And as you finish something on the checklist, it crosses out and like goes down to the bottom, and it's really satisfying. For anyone who loves list making and crossing things out, Google Keep, it's just part of one of the Google apps. That helps me, and you can set reminders in there too. And the reminder will go off like order this, email this person, call this person, and I use that a lot because my memory is not good, and I know that about myself. So I set things up to remember to do what I need to do.
Can you talk about like a little bit about your menu? Because I think it's important to highlight that you do a ton of gluten-free and some vegan options too. So Can you talk about like those vendors and what you offer to go with your coffee? Because I'm a sweets person. I love, and like I have to have something sweet with my coffee.
Yeah.
So
we've been working on expanding our menu. One of our favorite partners we love all of them equally, but one of our favorite partners is Alexander's Bakery. And they're just a wholesale bakery, so they don't have a storefront, but they're selling in a lot of shops in the capital region. And they make top 8 allergen-free. So they're dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free except coconut. They're vegan. all those things and more. Check them out on, social media. But their stuff is so delicious. I just ate a little bit of one before we started talking, and I know that you've tried some of their things. And so we have brownies and cookies and muffins and things made by them.
And they're all individually wrapped, so they're not contaminated with other
and they're made in
products.
They're made in a separate kitchen, so there's no chance of cross-contamination. I know a lot of people really appreciate that. And then we have more traditional baked goods. We get some of them from Puzzles, some of them from a Natural Way bakery. And we also carry several non-dairy options for any drink. So you can order any drink non-dairy with oat milk, almond milk, or cashew milk. And if you've never tried the cashew milk, you should, because it's really interesting. And those are all from Elmhurst, which is a New York-based non-dairy provider, which was really important to us. When there's some other bigger names that are more popular out there, we wanted to find one that was based in New York, and we really like that. And some of our sandwiches are always available in like a lettuce wrap instead of on a bagel or a bread, because a lot of people are avoiding gluten or avoiding carbs, and so we try to be as accommodating as we can. So if you have, as with any restaurant, if you have a food allergy and you're concerned, just ask one of us or one of the baristas, and we'll help you order something delicious that will make you feel great too.
Didn't know that about the lettuce. I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
As we're approaching the upcoming holiday season, what do we have to look forward to at Storied?
Sure. We are going to have some great people in the Curated Corner offering things so you can buy gifts locally. You can always grab a gift card or a bag of coffee for someone. We have travel mugs that you can buy also for yourself and for a friend. We're hoping to have t-shirts in the near future. Rich and I have recently been talking about developing another blend, as maybe if you've been to our shop, you know that our blend is just called Storied Blend Number 1. So we are working on developing another blend that will be available to drink in the shop, but also take home. And we'll be planning some extra events, possibly some gift-making classes, things like that. So just keep an eye. Usually Facebook is the best place for us to share events, because Instagram is a difficult place to share about events, but Facebook makes it a bit easier.
What's next for Storied Coffee, if anything?
Sure. Rich and I have, from the beginning, talked about, our 5-year plan, our 10-year plan, and we'd like to see Storied be a business that's around for a long time, and we would love to have more than one location. We just don't know when that'll be right. We love the bubble tea side of our business, and we are definitely, you'll see us in the spring and summer start to do more just bubble tea pop-ups places and be pushing the bubble tea side of things more. And just a lot of fun and growth. Our current space is relatively small, so we know that growing will probably mean owning more than one location.
Cool.
Someday.
That's cool. What do you typically do for lunch?
Sure. I'm a leftovers kind of person, so I like to make a big meal for dinner that I can eat a couple times during the week for lunch, and that's often chicken and veggies, or I'm a big soft spot for like pasta, even though I shouldn't eat it. Today, though, was Brussels sprouts, hummus, and tortilla chips.
I often eat in my car, so, I mean, that's way better than me.
I eat at my desk while answering emails and things like that.
Yeah.
But
how can people find your coffee place online?
Sure. We have a website, storiedcoffee.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Storied Coffee, and on Instagram at Storied Coffee. So we're very easy to get a hold of. And if you ever need to email us about anything, storiedcoffee@gmail.com.
Cool. Thank you so much
for thank you. This was fun.
Having me here and talking about your place. That was Christine Sarnacki, co-owner of Storied Coffee. Visit our show notes at workinglunchpod.com for links, photos of her store, and a video of our interview. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. We're at Working Lunch Pod. And if there's someone who you would like to be featured as a guest, email us at workinglunchpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to Working Lunch. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. We have 2 more amazing episodes left in this season. And remember, your biggest strength is who you are.